Peace and love to the conscious community. It's Sunny Sharma back with another video. So today I wanted to, well, this is my second video? No, it's my first video for today, but today I wanted to read an excerpt from a poem. No, I'm not trying to pick up chicks. I mean, maybe I am, but we'll keep that on the down low. But this is an excerpt from a poem called On Houses by Khalil Gibran in the book The Prophet. It's the most impactful. When I read it, it really impacted me a lot. I don't know why, but we'll explore it together. I'm going to read the excerpt twice. It's about 2 small paragraphs. So here we go. Here's the poem. From On Houses, page 31, on the Prophet. Would that I could gather your houses into my hand, and like a sower scatter them in forest and meadow. Would the valleys were your streets, and the green paths your alleys, that you might seek one another through vineyards, and come with the fragrance of the earth in your garments. But these things are not yet to be. In their fear your forefathers gathered you too near together, and that fear shall endure a little longer. A little longer shall your city walls separate your herds from your fields. Okay, I'm going to read it one more time. Would that I could gather your houses into my hand, and like a sower scatter them in forest and meadow. Would the valleys were your streets, and the green paths your alleys, that you might seek one another through vineyards, and come with the fragrance of the earth in your garments. But these things are not yet to be. In their fear your forefathers gathered you too near together, and that fear shall endure a little longer. A little longer shall your city walls separate your herds from your fields. So what is this poem really talking about? Being a sower, the fragrance of the earth, fear, but these things are not yet to be. Well, first and foremost, what I got out of it is that we live in a very fear-based society. The media has been putting in fear into our heads. You know, the forces of darkness are trying to put fear into us, you know? Because if they put fear into us, then we won't even try to fight. You know, we won't even try to fight against them. You know, and ultimately, there's a lot of people suffering out there. There's a lot of homeless people suffering out there, and we have not come to join one another in discourse and understanding of each other's suffering because we are separated from one another, you know? You know, I remember watching a YouTube video of a homeless man, and he was just talking about, you know, how we have no sense of community anymore. And I talked to this with my parents too, you know, just coming from their country in India. I mean, in the last 50 years, my parents are, you know, older, about around that age, a little older. Well, I shouldn't say their age, but around that age. You know, our society has like lost a sense of community. It has been so soaked up in this fear-based media manipulation by the, you know, the people we're talking about, you know, because that's their job ultimately. That's the game. That's the role they're playing in the society. You know, I don't want to be adversarial, but that's just the role they're playing. And we ultimately, you know, when Yeshua comes, you know, what Yeshua, if what Khalil Gibran was really channeling some of the spirit of Yeshua, then Yeshua, like the sower, will collapse our presumptions and assumptions about what it means to be living with one another. It doesn't mean he's going to take our houses away and destroy our houses, but he's going to break down our assumptions of what it means to be a human being, what it means to live in what it means to live in the beloved community, whereby, as Mother Moore had taught me, we live with lower, middle income, and upper income people all together, and even the so-called untouchables of our society. You know, because ultimately, we have to see, when we speak to the homeless, who is speaking back. Because this is something I've investigated for myself. You know, many people think the God speaks to the homeless, or that well, this might be this goes into a much deeper discussion, but I'll just leave you with that interrogative question: who is speaking when we speak to the homeless and to those who have been affected by hardship greatly. You know, some say there's great power in those people, you know, because they've been through so much, you know, and ultimately we have to see. Damn, I'm terrible at analyzing poems. I'm doing my best, but someone could do a better job, you know. When I did describe a poem in high school, I did a terrible job, but you know, ultimately, like a sower to scatter the houses among the fields. You know, we if we could be brought together and if that fear could be destroyed, you know, we could find out that we're all more alike each other than we thought, and that there's no reason for us to fear one another, you know. And I'm not saying we fear one another, but you know, our society is getting better than we think it is, but there still is this force trying to divide and rule us, you know, trying to make us, trying to put that fear into you. That's what all the spiritual teachers on YouTube, especially the Black Star Seeds, have been talking about. You know, how the media wants to put that fear into you, and how they tried to do that, especially during more despotic times. You know, I don't want to bring back any harsh feelings, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, the times of oppression, and even after those times, there was a time of oppression because the policy making was in their policies instituted, the neoliberal policies, the policies before that instituted to you know, put us into economic slavery, you know, and we are fighting against these forces, you know, all of these forces, you know, and it begins with helping the lowest of us, because if we can help the lowest of us, we can help the highest of us. And that is why I mean, ultimately, I know this is kind of a random rant, but if you were to, sometime, God may take everything from you just to show you exactly who you are. This is what I've learned from some people who have been homeless before, and they said they were on a spiritual journey, really. And I know it sounds harsh, but like it can happen to some people. And some people just accept that path, but they're guided by the Spirit of God. You know, many Christians, many people of other faiths, many people who are not religious, but who are just spiritual. You know, and as they said, the first phrase. I just want to, if any of you could tell me what this phrase means, what is the significance of this phrase? Because it's so significant to me. What they're saying is that, I believe, is if a sower were to take your houses in their hands and scatter them among the fields, so that you may see the fragrance of each other, so that you may truly understand. Because I understand now. I'm thinking through it right now. You know, fragrance is how people seem to love one another. You know how they say you know your partner through the fragrance of one another, and that's how you see whether you are attracted at times. You know, so. It's a very deep poem, and I invite you to get the book, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and read the other great poems in it. And to always think of how we can help those at the bottom, you know, because that is how we elevate all of us in our society. Okay, so I thank you for listening. I leave you with peace, love, brotherhood, and justice. Bye.